culture, and awareness of current issues and events. Each contestant will have a 2-minute time limit to answer the question presented to them. Okay, contestants? That we called up. Edwin, would you please take a step forward? All right, Edwin. Here is your question. Question number 1 from the judges table. Hi.
Hi.
How do you feel?
A little nervous.
Take a deep breath. Live in the moment. It's really happening. Look at your loved ones. Give a kiss. Give a hug. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The Philippines was a Spanish colony until 1898, when the Treaty of Paris was signed and the Spanish-American War came to an end. Followed by the 1899 Filipino-American War, it then became a U.S. colony until it gained its independence in 1946. Still history, don't worry. Sorry. Many years later, however, the U.S. still has a heavy influence on the Philippines. Some even go as far as saying that the U.S. still owns the Philippines and still has an invisible handle on the Philippines. Here's the question part. To what extent do you find this statement to be true? Or what signs do you feel prove otherwise that the Philippines has achieved its true independence?
Well, I think it has its own independence because I feel like other countries should influence each other. So it shouldn't be like, oh, we're our own country, oh, we do our own thing. But I think like all countries should influence each other and like make the cultures blend. So it's not like, oh, I'm the best country, oh, you're the best country. I feel like we should all be together as one. So I feel like Philippines have their own shows, they have their own thing, but at the same time, they blend the American culture together. So I feel like we do have our independence, but at the same time, we're taking cultures from like China, like Balot, like we have some, like we have Spanish last names. We're a mixture of cultures, so I don't see it as like we're losing independence, but we're gaining more cultures to enriching ours.
Judges' table is yours. Judges.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
This question is regarding culture. And as Matt said, I could repeat this as many times as you need. The setup is this. Filipinos are the second largest group of Asian immigrants in the United States. Repeat. Filipinos are the second largest group of Asian immigrants to the United States. Yet Filipino Americans are said to be the invisible minority, due to their ease of assimilation into American culture. Unfortunately, this has created a stigma for the rising number of second-generation or non-Philippine-born Filipinos among their Philippine-born counterparts. They have been shamed for their loss of culture, for being, quote-unquote, Americanized. Here's the question. Do you believe that this Americanization makes a person any less Filipino? Please explain your position.
Do you mind repeating the question one more time, please?
Filipinos are the second largest group of Asian immigrants to the United States. Yet Filipino Americans are said to be the, quote-unquote, invisible minority, due to their ease of assimilation into American culture. Unfortunately, this has created a stigma for the rising number of second-generation or non-Philippine-born Filipinos among their Philippine-born counterparts. They have been shamed for their loss of culture, for being Americanized. Question, do you believe that this Americanization makes a person any less Filipino? Can you please explain your position?
Thank you for that question. I believe that this Americanization does not make you less Filipino. The reason being is that our Manoans, our ancestors who came from the Philippines, they struggled. As we know, the Philippines does not have the best economy. We're currently struggling, and our ancestors they came to America. They struggled to get here, to make sure that we have the best life that we could. So, although it's sad to hear that we may be losing our culture, but I believe that we're just adopting American culture into our own culture. And I believe that we are making our Manoans proud by living in America, living life to the fullest, and just being who we are. Thank you.
NYU's IFA. JC, you have question number 4 from the judges.
Right. Hello. Okay. So, ready?
Yes.
This is the statement before the question. With the Philippines having 25% of its population living below the poverty line, it is not uncommon for Filipino citizens to go abroad as domestic workers in richer nations such as the United Arab Emirates. Moreover, many of these people get placed into deplorable situations akin to slavery through contract agencies. How do you believe the Philippine government can proactively monitor these contract agencies and protect the well-being of their people working abroad? Let me know if you'd like to repeat the question.
Thank you, Mr. Francis, for the question. Can you please repeat it for me?
Sure. This has to do with overseas Filipino workers. Many of them are placed in deplorable situations similar to slavery through contract agencies that abuse them. How do you believe the Philippine government can proactively monitor these contract agencies and protect them from abuses?
Thank you for the question again. I believe that that people who go overseas to go find work or to find fulfillment outside of the Philippines, they need to do it for their families. That's why all of us are here today in this room. We're here living the legacy of our ancestors and those who, like Christian said, that we struggled so hard to get here. And I think that raising awareness for these people who are struggling overseas and who may be subject to harsh conditions for their work, we need to raise awareness and to speak personally to them to make sure that they keep in touch with their families, that they never forget who they are back at home and who they're working for back at home, the people who love them so much back at home. And in this room, we all have loved ones who are far from us. So I think that serves as a reminder for all of us to stay close and to remember where you come from. Thank you.
Okay.
Alright, here's your question. This is awkward because I'm short. Okay. While the Philippines does have a presence in the media, its portrayal is rarely positive, often pointing towards the vulnerability of the nation and labeling it as a victim. Some of these headlines include the rising typhoon death tolls, the deaths of policemen by Muslim rebels, and the nation's reputation as Asia's sick man. Do you feel that these negative images accurately capture the current state of the Philippines, or are they simply sensationalizing stories? What aspects of the Philippines do you feel should be highlighted instead?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. While the Philippines does have a presence in the media, its portrayal is rarely positive, often pointing towards the vulnerability of the nation and labeling it as a victim. Some of these headlines include the rising typhoon death tolls, the deaths of policemen by Muslim rebels, and the nation's reputation as Asia's sick man. Do you feel that these negative images accurately capture the current state of the Philippines, or are they simply sensationalized stories? What aspects of the Philippines do you feel should be highlighted instead?
Thank you for the question. The Philippines has been going through a lot. And despite half that is true, there is still much room for improvement. Despite all the tragedies and the media and everything else that everyone has to say, it could be seen as a blessing in disguise and also a lesson to be learned. And that all starts with everyone here coming together as a community, set the prime example to make that difference. Or otherwise, the media is just going to keep on portraying that and nobody's going to do anything. It starts with me, starts with anyone else, starts with itself. And going on from there, only then will there be a big difference. Thank you.
For those questions. But now I'm going to ask all of the contestants to head backstage while we tally up the final scores. Look at your most selected men, Team Green! Mr. Buzzworthy. Once again, Mr. Buzzworthy was determined by the number of tweets that a contestant has received using both the Mr. PI 2015 hashtag and their team name hashtag. And the winner of Mr. Buzzworthy is Team CJ!
The winner of Mr. Congeniality is Sam Gomez!
All right, next we have most cultural, which once again is based off of the contestant who had the highest score in culture, or who has the most Filipino culture in their set. And the winner of most cultural is Victor Jomel! Your